Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of The Right Side with Doug Billings. Before we begin today's show, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of the program, the Commander's Artist. Check out his website, thecommandersartist.com. The patriotic artwork that this guy creates is phenomenal. And, you know, it's no wonder that General Mike Flynn himself has commissioned this guy as his own personal family artist. That's why he's called the Commander's Artist. Not only is it beautiful artwork, but it's just fabulously done, and the quality is unsurpassed. He's a good friend of the show. He's designed the logos that you see at the beginning and the end of each show. He's created a couple of Patriot prints for some guests that we've had on the show. And just take a look at these things that I'm showing you. Incredible. And when you go to order, you get a special discount if you mention in the coupon section the word Doug. That's me. When you go to pay on the website, you'll see a little button there that says, hey, do I have a coupon? You say yes. You click on it. Just enter in my name, Doug, D-O-U-G, and you'll receive a discount from the Commander's Artist. Go check him out. Excellent work, beautiful patriotism on display every day, thecommandersartist.com. Hi, everybody. Just when you thought the show was about to begin, I have one more announcement for you. Very quickly. A big moment, the biggest moment that this show has ever experienced. This coming Thursday, February 4th, I will have as my exclusive guest on this program, General Michael Flynn, ladies and gentlemen, right here on The Right Side with Doug Billings. The show will drop probably sometime Friday morning. Make sure that you watch it. Stay tuned. The General himself, General Michael Flynn, right here on The Right Side with Doug Billings, coming up this week. Thank you. God bless you. Cheers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Today, my guest is Mel K. She is thoroughly researched. She is articulate, she's passionate, she's hopeful. The current situation in the United States and, in fact, around the world will be highlighted and explained today on the program by Mel in only the way that she can. Full of passion, and, you know, she is, like I, encouraging people to do research, to get your news from other sources than the mainstream media. What's going on in the United States and around the world is much too important to be dependent upon mainstream media. And I think that you're going to find her very interesting today. Very interesting. We're happy to have had her on the program. Here we go. The Right Side with Doug Billings and our special guest today, Mel K. Here we go. I just want to kind of get to know you. Obviously, Charlie and many others think very highly of you. I've watched your shows. You got a great, there's just a great presence, and you have a great sense of energy and charisma about you. So I appreciate you being on this show. I really do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. I'm a big fan. There's truth tellers out there that, they're not going to put in all this other stuff that you can't prove. They're going to actually stick with the facts and what they can prove. And also, I'm very, I really do this for, because I feel like by God, I'm being led. I never imagined I would put myself out there like this, but it's not up to me. And I have a really strong spiritual connection with God and country and liberty and justice. And so, it's great to be on with people that, I admire and respect, because I really, you have to be careful and discerning these days with these mobs out there. It's just, anyone that's telling the truth right now is in danger. They even bring up the Ministry of Truth yesterday, and
exactly.
And Biden. Yeah, and Biden having a reality czar. They're not even hiding that it's full on 1984. They just can't do it slight. They have to just do it.
What they don't tell you is the reality czar is only the guy that works over Biden's shoulder to tell him what he's signing and how to behave. That's keeping Biden in his own reality is the challenge that they have on that side of the fence.
You betcha.
So you were By the way, I identify with what you describe as a calling to do this. I feel the exact same way. A year ago, I was in corporate America and had, to imagine myself doing this then was not even in my mind. Yet COVID hits and, people get furloughed, I among them. And then you begin to look at the world and think, I'm not sure I want to go back to corporate America. I feel like I need to tell people the truth about how I see the world and the politics that are in it. So much like you, I decided I got to say something. I can't sit on the sidelines and remain quiet anymore.
No. And I had been looking into this a really long time. I don't know if you know much about how I got into this, but I actually, when I was
please tell me
before NYU was hijacked by the liberal establishment and the education police. I had gone there and I had a class about this woman, Hannah Arendt, who wrote Origins of Totalitarianism and Eichmann in Jerusalem, The Banality of Evil. And I became obsessed with this woman. And then I was a screenwriter, so I wrote a screenplay about her. So for 6 months, I literally dug into this woman's life. She was an amazing woman, but she wanted to understand what happened. And her book, Origins of Totalitarianism, is exactly what we're living through right now. And the concept of the banality of evil, she's trying to understand that people that worked at the concentration camps went home to their families and had dinner and raised kids and went to bed and then got up the next morning and went and did that. And so I started a long time ago on this path of wanting to understand what happened then, and the mental gymnastics one must have to go through to live that duality. And then I realized, no. Now over the COVID and the last year, watching it play out, just like Nazi Germany from 1933 on, because I was informed on that, I felt like, you know what? Nobody knows the real history. So that's really where I started, because I saw through the UN and I did a lot of research on Rockefeller and why they started the UN, on Operation Paperclip, which a lot of people don't realize that's who's running it now. It's the same exact people that ran the World War II Nazi regime. It's this one world order people, and it's not a conspiracy theory. There's plenty of evidence. And then and I was also in Hollywood for a long time, so I knew a lot about the child trafficking and the sex trafficking, the adrenochrome, and a lot of that stuff. And luckily I never got sucked into it, but I was this close. You know what I mean? So, and then on top of that, watching just the infiltration of all of our institutions from the street level, and then watching George Soros. And I'm a big, I speak out a lot about, luckily I'm still alive, about the Council of Foreign Relations. And really what they're all working for is this one world government that has been planned. It was planned a long time ago, and now it's in another manifestation. And these people right now think that they got their puppet in there, Joe Biden, to take us to that new level. And then during the COVID, when they're starting with the Great Reset, I had already been alarmed and talked about smart cities and Agenda 2030 and all of that. But then I was watching this Great Reset, Build Back Better, this mind game that they've been playing on such a different level. And that's when I started to really just say, forget it. I got to go out there and tell people to do their own research. But, this is good versus evil in the most literal sense one can possibly imagine. And God wins, and God already won. He won before it started. Right. But God, this time, unlike Nazi Germany, this time we got to get rid of them. Okay.
We do. Yeah. In strong points, all of those. And, to be awake to that is a process. And there are people out there that think, you and I are kooks because we think and we talk this when we have programs. This show is a platform for people I've had, like you have, Charlie Ward, Simon Parks, etc. and I find them thoroughly engaging. I find them very cordial, and the information they have, no one else talks about. And people that aren't woken up, they'll react in different ways to that. Do you get a lot of the negative, the
I
trolls
used to
and the
not.
people that this
I didn't
discredit
in the
you?
beginning,
Yeah.
okay? Because I really do. I am a researcher. I really stick to what I can prove. I don't talk about the clones and the assassination because I
Yeah.
can't prove it,
Same here.
And
Yeah.
I love
Right.
Charlie Ward. We're pals. We're really friends, and we laugh so much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I did a show with him
Yeah.
actually about a year ago about Seeding Company and the DTCC and the Fed and how most people don't know it's private, and the debt slavery and how they worked it, and the Bank of International Settlements. And that's how I got to know Charlie.
Yep.
And then after that, now I
Yep.
go on once a week because we like to keep people positive. But that's more my thing with
Yep.
that
Yep.
is that I believe God wins, God's in control. And I believe that it's way bigger, that it was never about Donald Trump ever. He was, he was a figurehead. They asked him to run. This is so much bigger than that. And I'm really happy because I feel like it's finally these cabal bloodline families that have enslaved this world with their central banking system in all these countries. And then they go in and, you add to it the Clinton Global Initiative, the Open Society, the color revolutions. It's just, you get to a point where there's so much information out there. If anyone looked at it, well, I'm looking at it. And I'm trying to put together the dots, and I see this probably 3,000 people, that go to Bilderberg or Davos or whatever, that are involved in all of it, in every level. If you scrape the surface of any of these places, you're going to find the same 1,000 people that are running everything against the will and against the good of humanity. For their own gain. And, that's why. And it's only people like us that are saying it. But a lot of people, I think, are starting to see. I honestly believe the last 10 days from when Biden, I guess, was from the Biden show on, has been a real red pill for a lot of people that refuse to see anything. All these people that voted against Trump, voted against America, and they don't even realize.
Right. Yep. I think you're spot on. With Trump, there's, I am in the camp that God called Trump for this time, for this moment, and Trump is the one that was chosen. Now, people that would vote against him or they don't like him, and I don't know. I've always noticed that there's no substantive reasons they give for their disdain for Trump other than his personality. They just don't like the way that he tweets. They didn't like his personality. They have nothing of substance, and they can't. Literally, you can't argue the list that's almost like a phone book of all of the accomplishments and the things that he did. Now, but it's control of information. And I want to segue in to get your opinion about this latest Veritas project. James O'Keefe, in my opinion, is a true hero. And what he recently did with Facebook, this meeting that they infiltrated, in a series of these meetings where you've got Zuckerberg, who looks like a Stepford husband or some sort of
something is wrong. I don't know if it's adrenochrome or what is going on. If the stories about his family bloodline are revealing themselves in real time, but that is not what he ever looked like. Like, he looks like he is either suffering from lack of adrenochrome or whatever else, or he's I don't know. It just looks scary. It looked like we were watching a demon. Period. And his teeth, and just everything, his eyes, his ears. He looks like he's transforming in front of us.
Absolutely. But at the crux of those meetings, really, what strikes me is there's lots of problems that the country is facing. I think that in the top three is big tech's control of information, because I don't have to tell you that the control of information is the control of the narrative, and if we can't, you and I or the average person on the street can't rationally talk about things of which we don't know, or of things that we don't know the entire story about. We can't. So the purposeful editing, censoring, withholding of information is a real problem. Canceling President Trump's Facebook page. Zuckerberg was commenting on it. Obviously, an adrenaline rush for him, because he can do that to the president of the United States. But I think that is what we are facing. That's one of the biggest challenges, the most severe issues that this country is facing, is the free-flowing of information that's being held up
Right.
and bottled up by social media. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's all part of it. They're all involved. Listen, I've always thought that these people their crimes that I've uncovered on many levels are so heinous and unforgivable. And all of this has been about protecting themselves. They turn it around to be the opposite. But actually, this whole narrative that Zuckerberg, first of all, he admitted that he interfered with the election in that piece. It's a crime. It's treason. He admitted it on camera, thinking nobody would ever notice him and his sidelings. The truth is, this transition integrity project, about a year ago, I started reading about it, and it's this guy Eisen and about 700 attorneys that also are part of this National Lawyers Guild. They're all connected to Obama, Chicago, Holder. They wrote this narrative out, the entire narrative of how they were going to say Trump wasn't going to leave office, and that he wouldn't do they used all the same buzzwords. Yes. He wasn't going to do a peaceful transition. None of this came from Trump. They created the narrative. They created the false polls. They knew they were going to cheat. They knew this is a script. And then when you hear Zuckerberg talking to his people, it's a script. You remember 2 weeks before the election, Zuckerberg came out and he explained that this year it'll probably take a few weeks to have the winner of the presidential race, where every time in the rest of history, no. But this year, because of COVID, because they planned COVID, and, it just all goes back. There's plenty out there for people to look up. But this Transition Integrity Project is writing this narrative about Trump. And Zuckerberg just repeated it word for word, literally from the thing that they put out a year and a half ago that I got a copy of. And it's basically marching orders. The same people as Media Matters. And, they're all caught up in what is real, Pizzagate. They're all caught up in that. They're caught up in a lot of this stuff. Zuckerberg is real caught up in it. Jack is caught up in it. The Epstein boomerang is what I call it. That's coming back soon. Yeah, they're all involved. It's the same people, and they're all involved in all of it. And it's about hiding their own crimes. Because on a side note, what's going on in Myanmar, which I believe is a sting because it's the same people, Smartmatic, Dominion, the IMF put a huge amount of money in there to control the election. George Soros is all in there. Clinton Global Initiative. They're all invested in there. Then I did some research, and then I found out that area was called the Golden Triangle because it was a big CIA Black Ops site, Burma, it was called, Myanmar. And that it was where it's like the second largest producer of heroin in the world, poppy, and also methamphetamines and all this. And then I saw, because if you know about the human trafficking, child trafficking, drug trafficking, adrenochrome thing, it's all through the oceans. That's why that Ghislaine Maxwell with the oceans, and then the Clinton Foundation with their Caribbean Island Initiative, and then what they did in Haiti and with the ports. And it's that 3,000 people that meet at all these fancy places. And then I realized that Myanmar is along the route. And Trump over the last
tell the audience what the Myanmar, because I know what you're talking about, but let's make sure the audience is on board.
Tell us. There is they had an election shortly after we did, and the election I believe it was set up. It was a sting, but it used the same companies, Smartmatic, Dominion, and it also had a lot of George Soros foundation types were in there. Like they go everywhere for these color revolutions. The Clinton Global Initiative put a ton of money into that country. So did Obama. And all of their pals then got contracts and everything. There's a central bank there. So basically, the people of Myanmar, and it's 60 million people, are living just like we are in debt slavery by these corrupt banking cabal. And then they've let in these big foundations like Clinton, and they've basically hijacked all of their resources, all of their wealth, and they have a port there. And these ports are going to be a big part of this story. Trump went through and closed them all, but they are human trafficking, drug trafficking, and child trafficking ports. And also organs, adrenochrome, guns. But this port in Myanmar was a big one. And there was actually a big case in 1998, I think, about CIA guys flipping and saying that they were flying drugs for the CIA out of the southern air from Myanmar to New York and Florida. And this got shut down. Oddly enough, the whole case got kind of shut down by Bill Barr back in the 90s. So now here we are. What happens is 8 million votes are seen being changed and transferred to the other side, like what happened here. And it was the same thing. It was an algorithm. And like here, 300 million people, I guess 100 and something million votes, they say probably 30 to 40 million were flipped in the same program. Well, this they watched in real time flip 8 million of 60 million. So again, it's the same thing. And now, so the military took over, as I believe they have here, God willing, but they did it in their face because their constitution, as I keep reading the constitution on my show, their constitution says what ours says, which is if the government becomes despotic to the point that they are working against the people and no longer for the people's interest and are not doing their job of protecting every person's independence, property, and security, that they can be abolished by the Insurrection Act, kind of like ours. Right. And that's what happened. And the military went in, arrested the cheaters, arrested the president and vice president there. And right now the military is in control. The problem is that the one world order and the globalist cabal that controls Joe Biden they didn't want to lose that port. It's very important to them. They make plenty of money out of that region in drugs and human trafficking. And that's what it's all about, really, for these black ops and CIA money. And, so now Joe Biden and them are threatening the military, saying that it's a military coup, which is the problem, I believe, with what we're watching here.
Right.
Is that the military is waiting. There, they can do it. They have enough control. And I know that there's two sides of the military factions in Myanmar, too. But I believe that this is the alliance. I don't believe that this is just their military. I think that it's the alliance, I believe the alliance is that in 2017, when Trump invited Putin, or 2018, when Trump invited Putin to the G7 and everyone was all up in arms, I believe Trump shared with them all the evidence he had against the Clintons and Gates and everyone else and kind of laid it out. And from then on, there's been an alliance of worldwide military working together to eradicate this global cabal that has every country under slavery. One of the reasons that they're infiltrating right now Russia is because Russia refuses to have anything to do with the central bank. So
I think the audience just needs to educate them. So this is so big and so important. And I'm,
I know, and I can talk for like hours.
But I want to segue now into the military here, because you were there you went to Washington, D.C., right? You were there to talk to the troops that are there.
Yeah. I wasn't there for the riot, the faux riot. It wasn't a riot.
Yes, right, of course. Yeah.
And Schumer and Pelosi and all them knew about it before. Don't let them fool you. But luckily we got their laptops, so that's good news. Well,
so yes, and lots of people that watch this show, at least, and I'm sure you run into it as well. There's lots of questions. Okay, so why is the military? It appears as it's mostly National Guard. Why are they there? What did you hear that you can share with us that sheds some light on the real reason that they're there? And if you have information about the laptops or things like that, feel free.
Well, here's what I believe. Here's what I believe. Now, again, everyone has to do their own research. Time will tell. We are at the precipice right now. But when I went to talk to multiple different National Guards, just went up, was like friendly. They were friendly. These people are not in a war zone. Okay. They're not acting like they're in a war zone. They're not freaked out. They seem completely in control. And when I went over and talked to a couple and like, what's going on here? Because they're building a structure and then the barbed wire and it's all of that. And these two National Guards told me flat out that they're there to protect the Constitution and the people, that they're not there to protect the government or the senators or the congressmen. That's not their job. Their job is to protect the Constitution. Right. I heard it from several of them.
And that's the truth.
Yeah, that's the job of the military.
Yep. Right.
And they all, I mean, very patriotic. A lot of, you could tell Trump supporters, even some laughing about what we were watching. But these people are not there to protect government from we the people.
Right.
They are there, I believe, to surround the defunct corporation of the United States of America that has kept us all prisoners since 1871, and they're all in on it. That's the problem with the corporation, is that in order to be in DC and be in the government at the top level, you're in on the fraud on the American people. You've been in on it. You know what you're doing. And I believe that they're surrounded, is my opinion. And
the corporation, tell people where they can go to see and read about the incorporated United States as it applies to the information that you just shared.
Yeah,
where can
it's
they
fascinating.
Go see that? Yeah,
and honestly, I dug all this stuff up myself, so it's out there, and there's a lot of good places to go. It's basically, don't Google anything. Google is completely manipulated. It is on their team. All the mainstream media, they're all worried about themselves. They are not. This isn't about Trump. This isn't about us. This is about people that committed egregious crimes on many levels, and they know that they're caught. So the information that's being given on the regular channels is pretty much worthless right now if you want truth. So go to one of the other ones like DuckDuckGo or Quant, or there's a bunch of them, Brave Browser, and look up the Act of 1871 and also the Creature at Jekyll Island, and the Federal Reserve Banking Act, because this is when our country was hijacked in three ways. And basically, you will find out that after the Civil War, we were broke, in came the Rothschild bankers from the City of London, which has nothing to do with London. The City of London is a vassal state like DC and the Vatican. They have no oversight. They are completely rogue, and they control the world along with the UN in their minds, not much longer. And basically, our country, in exchange for taking a loan from the Rothschild family, who manipulate, this is how they do it everywhere, after they destroy with destruction and fund both sides of wars, they go in and say, here, we'll give you a loan to fix your country. In exchange, you have to turn the District of Columbia into a corporation so that we know that we're going to be paid back. And basically, that was the beginning of it. And from that day on, we've been in debt slavery to the City of London and the Vatican. And we pay a substantial amount of our taxes every year. It goes through the corporation back to the City of London, which is the Rothschild bankers. And they own, with the Vatican, the District of Columbia. It happens to be a foreign-owned entity on our land. It's a 10 by 10 parcel of land. And it is 100% owned by a foreign government that is just attacked us in our election, but also with COVID. It's all going to come out that it's all connected. And, the Act of 1871, I believe, was reversed on January 4th last year, but we'll find out. But they did bankrupt the corporation. And when everyone wasn't paying attention, what happened was, the Federal Reserve is behind all of it. It all goes back to them. And what it is that when all 50 states called for COVID emergency and Trump had to call a national emergency on COVID, they swallowed for the first time ever the Fed into the Treasury. It was the first time ever that the Fed was able to audit, not the Fed, the Treasury was able to audit the Fed. And the amount of crime and money laundering, which we should have been awake to after the COVID bill came out and they were sending $700 billion overseas while our country is being decimated for whatever. Why are we sending money overseas for any reason other than, strictly humanitarian? But it's not going to humanitarian. All these people, these are slush funds. Yep. These are money laundering operations. The money's going nowhere. And how they set it up in the Act of 1871 with the District of Columbia, which also all the states are corporations. This was not in our original Declaration of Independence or our Constitution or our Bill of Rights. It was hijacked, and they recreated a document just for the District of Columbia by changing from for to of, and of to for. And basically, they've been running a rogue foreign nation, enemy state. And none of our taxes go to what we think. Every single cent of the American taxpayers' money goes to interest on a loan that can never be repaid. And that's where we are. And finally, Trump and his team of brilliant people behind the scenes audited the Fed. And they found so much. And the City of London and the Vatican. They've all been. It's been the alliance, and a lot of gold was recovered, and a lot of crime. Just $23 quadrillion we're talking about of money that's been hoarded and hidden from humanity. That's ours. It's our money, and it's really sickening because then you see, like the faux pope that was currently in there coming out and saying like we have to be more generous. And they, they're always saying that, and then the WHO and Hollywood that works for these people, basically the Hollywood we see now. I think there will be a revolution there too, in my opinion. But all they've been doing to us is keeping us blind and in debt slavery to benefit themselves. Pretty much every war over the last 20 years, 50 years, has been financed both sides by these same people, and they're all in on it.
What's your sense about timetables for justice with all of this? I mean, so many people are wanting, they're just out there, they're hopeless. They're looking for anything that gives them hope with regards to the correction of all of this. Do you think that President Trump has set up something that's, for the lack of a better word, on automatic right now that's taking care of itself? Are they working behind the scenes? I don't know if there's a quick fix to any of this, but maybe you have different information.
Well,
I don't know if we're going to see busloads of senators being arrested, in other words. Yeah. I mean,
unless you can prove it, which I'd love to see, but no. No, what I was told also by military when I was talking to them, and again, everyone do your own research. I'm just one person that really loves this country, loves God, loves my family, humanity, children, and I really know the fraud that's been perpetrated on all of humanity by these central bankers and their black magic, and it goes farther than that. But what I do think is that the military is in control. I'm 100% pretty much sure that when DNI Radcliffe gave in his report, there's 7 countries that were involved in the theft of our election, including many senators and Republican and Democrats, and obviously Biden and all his people and Obama and all of them. They were all involved. They were involved a long time ago. They never, ever expected Trump to win because they cheated in the Hillary election too. And they did it with Dominion and Smartmatic and all the same creeps. And they underestimated him. And when he got in, it was the military knew. Don't forget, the man had a top 5 TV show with 25 million viewers every week for 14 years. People didn't like Trump only after he came in. And it wasn't people, it was the media that got scared because they're implicated in a lot of stuff. And they knew it, and they knew he was going to go after them. And then they flipped the script on who Trump really is. And so anyway, my thinking is that the military here, that's why I say watch Myanmar. It is completely legal what the military did there as it is here. But here we have issues like Obama and his army that he's created of literal people coming out of prison, getting indoctrinated. Obama was very open about the one world order, globalists, that he wants the UN, he wants civilian forces, defund the police is really about the UN. They want globalist police and a military state. But the military apparently wants as little, obviously, collateral damage as possible when they reveal what they know, what really happened, and what really happened with COVID, because that's going to be a really big part of the red pill for people. Basically, they're waiting, they say, for their internal in the military to feel that 70% of the American people have had it to the point where they will welcome military intervention and not think that it's the opposite, because it's not. The military is working for the Constitution and for we the people only. And that's my belief. And I have heard that Joe Biden nor his team has been allowed near the Pentagon. I also was told that when Trump got the report, turned it over to the Pentagon, that there was no doubt that the election, what happened in the election, but also a lot of other crimes were revealed. And FEMA now is in control with Chris Miller and a bunch of people that are on the alliance. And what happens in America when FEMA takes control, then there's a continuity of government put in place that's already picked. And what I'm hearing is that includes General Flynn, which is my hero of heroes. And I think he's the greatest, and he's been silent for days, which is really, really driving them over the edge.
Well, it's interesting because General Flynn will be on my show tomorrow.
Oh, that's so
And
awesome. I knew I
yeah,
loved you.
yeah.
You tell him he's the greatest. But
Well,
he's been
you and I,
silent. That's
when
great.
we're finished, hang on, and I'll take a list of your questions for
Oh,
General
that's
Flynn,
awesome. No,
and
he's the greatest. Believe
yeah,
me, I fight every day. I get up, and like, yeah, I've been attacked real bad, but I'm telling you, I do research. And
yeah,
what I'm saying, I actually feel that it's worth saying whether I'm right or wrong. I always say do your own research, but I'm finding it and I'm putting it out there. And it's up to people. But if you look
yeah,
at everything and connect all the data points and everything we've seen happen, going all the way back to Rockefeller's like Project Lockstep, and then the Event 201, and just the pandemic and the
yeah,
riots, and then how they're twisting reality now. Like
right,
last summer wasn't really insurrection
yeah,
riots. So my feeling is the military is waiting for the American people to be comfortable with the idea of the
yeah.
military, it
Yeah,
revealing
I tend to be right there with you, and I think for the benefit of the viewers watching, Flynn will be on the show tomorrow. It'll drop on Friday morning. Just
Oh, that's
FYI.
awesome. You're
Yeah,
so lucky. I'm so
thank you. Yeah,
jealous. I
it's
love him.
he's obviously hero, and we're happy to have landed that interview. Now, with regards to what we see, people will say, well, wait a minute, Bush or Biden just ordered troops into Syria. How can he not be in control? And my response is, well, where did you see that news? It was in the mainstream media, wasn't it?
Right.
And then it should be a red flag. A lot of stuff out there, we have to be careful. I wouldn't trust anything on any channel. Newsmax, I wouldn't trust anything that you see. I think Obama has his third term right now. These people, they don't lie when they tell us these things. But Obama, in an interview just a few weeks ago, said, I'd rather fancy being behind the scenes, whispering into the ear, so to speak, and pulling the strings. And by God, I believe he's doing exactly that.
Me too. And there's a lot of anomalies that you can look at to show. Yeah, that's the thing about these Luciferian Satanists. I always tell people when I say that and they get all up in arms, I say, okay, go look up the UN, look up Lucis Trust within the UN. It's their philosophical basis. It is the 10 steps by this Alice Bailey to a one world order. It is Luciferian doctrine. And it is anti-God, anti-freedom, total control over society, people, everything. They have a Lucis Trust meditation room at the UN to this day. And the biggest donors are the biggest eugenicist depopulation fans, such as Bill Gates and Ted Turner and all them. And the philosophical grounding of the United Nations is Luciferian Satanism. And it's just true. The New World Order, people do your own research. They don't hide it. That's the beauty of these people. They don't hide it. When I was watching the inauguration show, I just kept thinking, because I did do a lot of shows and know a lot about Epstein Island and what happened there and the other islands. And I thought, are we watching the Epstein Island spirit cooking reunion show presented by E? Because that's what I was watching.
Wow.
I was like, this is nuts. And even with Lady Gaga dressed as Hunger Games with the golden thing. And I'm thinking this has to be the white hats pointing to these people, because otherwise Satan's Productions is what we're watching.
Absolutely.
And that's not happening. Awesome, it didn't happen. So I just, in my mind right now, I just really think that the Great Awakening is at full speed, and we're watching it. We're watching big pharma. People are saying Biden's doing this, and I just say, prove it.
Right.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof? They're manipulating what they have left of the corporation. They still have the problem is that we're people looking for information. All of us in the country, all over the world, is looking at America right now, right?
Oh yeah.
But these people are in danger of going to prison or worse for life. And we're talking about the people that run the six corporations that run everything on the planet is really run by this same Bilderberg, Davos, IMF, World Economic Forum. Comes out today, a side note, I haven't done enough research yet, but that the IMF, who's the One World Order bank, basically, the World Economic Forum, same thing, they're all connected. They gave Myanmar $350, I think, million dollars not that long ago for this, I believe, this election fraud. So whatever the case may be, they're all connected. It's all going to connect, and it's a part of a big puzzle. And I think that what happened also in Wall Street with GameStop, I think it finally also revealed a whole nother thing. So we're having big pharma, big tech, military industrial complex, the Fed, the con, and that is Wall Street, because we own, nobody that invests in Wall Street owns anything. All the type A stocks are owned by the same exact people that run the City of London and the Rothschild banking cabal and the central bankers. It's all a fraud. And, you know, I just think it's one after another, and people have to be willfully ignorant or blind or not care to not see what's going on, because there's no way that our military or any other military on the planet are going to allow America to become a communist country. Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
And with that, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you on all of that. And we know I've promised you about 30 minutes. So I want to wrap up with one, but I want to ask you, Mel, you know, as I listen to you talk, obviously articulate, well-versed in all of this, full of information, and well-educated with regards to the research that you've done. It sounds to me that there is, I think one of the underlying tones of your information is hope. That there is, in fact, hope, that we shouldn't be panicking, and that we should perhaps consider giving ourselves some patience with regards to letting this play out. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, well, that's my message at all. That's why I do it, is to give hope. That's why I do, that's why I do Charlie Ward every Monday morning, because we do like our Monday morning meeting, but it's always about God won already. God wins. This is over. It was over before it started. We need to be awakened enough to see what's really going on before our eyes. We are being liberated from many, many years of lies and deception that has been used against we, the people of this planet. This is not just America. This is the whole world. And the Chinese people and the Iranian people, they want to be free too. And we're their last hope. And they're not going to let this happen here. This is already done, in my opinion. And I think what people should do right now, and I'm not good with patience either. I'm like a New Yorker. I am out there. I'm loud. No, right now, people should be going inside. They should be doing their own research. They should be going inside and looking at what they sacrificed in this life because they had too much debt, or they didn't think they could, or they didn't go to the right school, or they weren't in some elitist club or group. It's all going to be revealed to all be BS. And what everyone, in my opinion, should be doing right now is taking the 40,000 foot view of their life. And where in their lives did they give up on something they loved, or forget about a passionate project, or have they neglected their health, or have they given up on love, or have they always wanted to get a puppy? I mean, whatever it is, I feel like right now is the time to invest in you, because when this flips to the other side and then all is revealed about the banking and what's been going on to all of us financially, and that there's some restitution for all the people. And when this Black Lives Matter and Antifa and anti-white and division stuff is revealed for what it really is, there will be a unifying moment for all people and in all countries. And it's coming, and I can feel it coming. I get emails from all over the world with people thanking me, saying the same thing. And what I believe is happening is going to be, and I believe in the best is yet to come for sure, but these globalist cabal, one world order, UN cabal, they have been preaching this globalist stuff, this one world stuff, like that we're all global citizens. No, we're not. We're all citizens of our countries, and we should be proud of that. It should be. Every country should put their own people first to make their country as good as it can be. There's plenty of money.
I've said it a million times.
Plenty of money.
I think that the reason people love Trump is because he's the template for the leader they want in their countries. That's the universal appeal to Trump.
Exactly. And I believe that this whole cabal plan, this Agenda 2030, this Agenda 21, their smart city thing is going to turn completely the opposite. And we're actually going to be citizens of the planet that are at more peace and more prosperity and more, act more like the cousins that we are and should be. I felt like the Abrahamic Accords was the biggest sign that God was involved here. because, we were divided, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, by the same evil cabal, in my opinion, Luciferian cabal. And we're really cousins, and all
Right.
this stuff is so unnecessary. And I just feel like the more people wake up, the more information gets out there, the more people are driven to God and country. And that's why I think we should all be our cultures and our country and our history and our nation and a God and family. These are things that we have in common. And instead of their constant pushing diversity or division, really the best part about humanity is what we have in common. Our unity, our strength is that we're all Americans, and we believe in God, country, the Constitution, family, children, and all these positive things that created America. We got to remember why those people took the risk of the 13 colonies. And the big part's going to also be going in and writing history back the way that it really was, and not the way that Obama and Clinton rewrote it.
Right. You're right. Yep. That we did a whole show on the 1619 Project, the lies of history. And my goodness. And you're right. It is. I know. And it's the way that they control us. You're right. Because what you've said is, I've been saying that the traditional family values of everyone, no matter in what country you live, there is natural law. There is God's law. That is the way it should be. And isn't it ironic that as human species evolves all around the planet, the traditional family unit shows up everywhere? It doesn't matter what region, it's everywhere. But the state, the cabal, can't have that. And that's why groups like Black Lives Matter in their manifesto says that they must abolish traditional families. Right. Because you can't control. So did
the UN, the Lucis Trust, right there for you, taking the kids away from the parents. The parents are the problem. Just like with climate change, it's the people that are the problem. No, it's the technologies that you're hiding from us that aren't being used. That's the problem. It's just everything that they say, the whole Agenda 2030, 21, I could do a whole show with you about the craziness. It's just, it's going to be the opposite. These people are going to have the boomerang. I'm good friends with Roseanne Barr, and we keep being like, we can't wait for Purim. The boomerang.
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like
exactly.
it's coming on the 24th, the Purim boomerang, because, Haman built the gallows for the Jews, and he ended up hanging. Yep. So that's what I'm hoping is coming. And I feel really positive. I feel like God won. I feel like the vibe is getting better. I feel like more and more people are willing to talk. I've also been, I think the whole masking, social distancing, isolation was to keep us from talking about anything with each other. And people are missing it, and that's why I get up every day. Yeah, I've been attacked really bad. In the beginning, it was great. Everyone loved me. Then boom, I became like, and for me, it's a lot of anti-Semitism. I'm Italian and I'm Jewish. So it's like, it's always entertaining to me, because I know a lot about both, everything. And I think it's all the same. It's all one God and one universe and one love. So that doesn't bother me. But like, even my Telegram got infiltrated. They're putting up like gross stuff. And I don't have time to do all that. I'm actually I researched probably.
Right. Well, and you can tell. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have someone like you on, Mel.
Anytime. I love your show. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. Well, thanks. Likewise. And ladies and gentlemen, check out Mel's show. She's got a channel on YouTube. You need to check it out. Subscribe to her.
But YouTube's been infiltrated. So it's not the Mel. Somebody started 2 new channels that aren't mine.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And I don't even make money on YouTube, and they are. And not even that. If I put up something, it'll get taken down, right? They put up my videos, they don't get taken down. It's crazy. But anyway, the Mel K official is not me.
Okay.
And Mel K and Charlie Ward show is not me or Charlie Ward. Mine only one is the Mel K show. And then my BitChute is where I really go, because for some reason, faux Mel K's stay up, but real Mel K gets strikes.
Oh my gosh.
So BitChute, the Mel K show. And also I'm starting a website, because who knows how long that's going to last. Yep. Oh, sorry. So my website's themelkshow.com. And I love people telling me stuff. Lots of nice people give me tips, and I do look into it, and I do write back. So I just want people to educate themselves and to know the best is yet to come. And we are watching the Great Awakening, I believe, in full effect every single day. It's getting more and more bright.
Awesome. That's just fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mel K on the right side with Doug Billings. Mel, it's just been a great pleasure to meet you, have you on the show for the first time. I would love to have you back.
I want to come back whenever.
Okay.
You're a pleasure. You're so smart. You're so on target. You and I think alike about a lot of things, and we like facts, and that's important.
Yep, agreed.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Stay with me, and we'll say a goodbye. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back.